So how exactly do we guarantee quality when learning crosses borders and, enters these massive digital realms? It's a huge question, right? Not just for the future of global education, but frankly for anyone doing any hiring in the future. Because with students learning from literally anywhere and institutions operating across totally different countries and continents, how does anyone keep the standards consistent?
Well, welcome to this explainer. Today, we're unpacking a blueprint that attempts to solve this exact challenge. We're taking a deep dive into the Universal Association of Professional Colleges and Universities, or the UAPCU for short, to see exactly how they're planning to build a truly borderless education system.
Okay, let's dive into this. We're taking an ecosystem walkthrough today, from the macro global authority all the way down to micro student credits. We'll cover the UAPCU global identity, multilateral authority, their 8 academic faculties, metaverse infrastructure, and lastly, standardized credits.
Section 1, the UAPCU Global Identity, defining the core mandate. To really understand this framework, we first have to establish what the UAPCU actually is on paper.
Essentially, they are a private sector NGO, and they're aiming to act as a kind of global referee for higher education. Their core mandate: global quality assurance, academic accreditation, and transnational curriculum standardization. Basically, they want to ensure that a curriculum taught in one country holds the exact same weight as one taught halfway across the globe.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how they back up that global referee status. They've anchored themselves to some serious international pillars. They hold official registrations with the United Nations Global Marketplace, the Union of International Associations, and the European Union. So they aren't just putting up a website, they've actually integrated themselves into major global bureaucratic infrastructures.
Section 2, multilateral authority and equivalency, the global echelon. Now we're moving from their basic identity into how the UAPCU actually positions its global authority.
Where exactly does the UAPCU fit into the global hierarchy? Well, they operate as an independent accreditation board, and they explicitly claim direct institutional peer equivalency to massive recognized bodies, like CHIA in the US and ASIC in the UK. Think of it like claiming a gold standard seal of approval, but doing it on a fully transnational scale.
So the crucial point is how they maintain this independent status, and they do it through what they call multilateral alignment. By being formally registered and synchronized with the UN SDG Action Campaign and UNDESA, they aim for absolute institutional immunity. In plain English, it means they're structurally safeguarded against arbitrary external revisions or being shut down by a single government.
Section 3, the 8 academic faculties, anchoring the UIPM ecosystem. This is where we look at the meso-level architecture and how the UAPCU governs the Universal Institute of Professional Management ecosystem.
How do they actually organize the learning? Through these 8 primary faculties. And taking a look at this, you'll notice how they translate dry institutional guidelines into some highly specialized global study areas. Instead of just basic tech, IT is strictly tied to Industry 4.0. Law focuses heavily on transnational and military diplomatic law. It's a syllabus structure built explicitly for a digitized, completely borderless world.
Section 4, Metaverse and Decentralized Infrastructure, 21st Century Delivery. We are now shifting to arguably the most surprising element of this explainer, the technological innovation happening under Dr. Kabas Krasniqi, the director of UAPCU Global in Washington, USA. And this brilliantly illustrates how a traditional standards body embraces futuristic 3D platforms. They officially certify immersive e-campuses and they host them securely on Second Life. Yeah, that Second Life. They've maintained a virtual presence there since February of 2016, which shows they aren't just theorizing about digital classrooms, they're actively building inside them.
To back up that virtual world, the UAPCU endorses decentralized academic repositories using Cloudflare Pages networks. The goal here is pretty straightforward: resilience and speed. No matter where a student is on the globe, the curriculum is accessible securely and instantly, without relying on a single vulnerable central server.
Section 5, Standardizing Global Academic Credits, the micro level. Let's move to and see how this builds from all that abstract technology right down to the tangible credits a student actually earns. We've looked at the metaverse and the UN, but how does a student actually earn a degree? Well, it comes down to this number right here, 120. Across any transnational boundary, 120 to 130 is the rigidly enforced, standardized minimum credit structure for a bachelor's degree under this framework.
And the progression looks incredibly familiar. It's just applied on a global scale. Ascending to a master's requires 36 to 60 standardized credits, and for a doctoral program, a PhD, it's 60-plus credits, and that mandates rigorous project-based assessments and dissertations. It basically takes all that high-level global infrastructure and boils it down to an unyielding, quantified path of progression. To make sure those credits actually hold weight, they undergo strict evaluation audits in full compliance with ISO 21101:2018 standards. Now, if that sounds like heavy corporate jargon, well, that's kind of the point. It's an industrial-grade quality assurance metric designed specifically for educational organizations, which anchors all those virtual campuses right back to hard, traditional quality assurance.
Which leaves us with a massive, fascinating question. How will immersive technologies and transnational standards completely redefine what it means to go to university in the future? We've just walked through a system that blends UN alignments, strict ISO audits, and literal metaverse campuses. If this is the trajectory, the future of education is going to be borderless, fully digital, and stringently standardized. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep learning and keep questioning how our world is evolving.